All right, let's dive in. Today we're looking at number sequences, specifically one that takes the famous Fibonacci sequence and makes it a bit more, well, real.
Yeah, it's a bit morbid, I'll admit, but, adding a little mortality to those endlessly breeding Fibonacci rabbits actually makes things way more interesting mathematically.
So the classic Fibonacci scenario, everyone knows it, right? You start with a pair of rabbits, they do what rabbits do. And each month, bam, new rabbit pairs keep appearing, adding to the total. You end up with this elegant sequence, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. Each number is just the sum of the two before it. Simple, beautiful.
Absolutely. And it illustrates recursion perfectly, not to mention its connection to the golden ratio. But let's face it, real rabbits don't live forever. That's where A00044. Sounds a bit like a robot uprising, doesn't it? But trust me, it's pure math magic.
Now,
And get this, it starts off exactly like the Fibonacci sequence. Those first 12 terms are identical. But then things take a turn. A turn towards reality, you could say, because in A00044, we introduce a lifespan. Our rabbits in this model, they've got 12 months to hop around, make more rabbits, live their best rabbit lives.
so after that initial Fibonacci-like run, the sequence changes. Instead of simply adding the previous two terms, you also subtract the term from 13 places back. Basically, those rabbits born a year ago, they're out of the picture.
Exactly. It's still a recurrence relation, just like Fibonacci. But now we're accounting for the fact that things, they end.
Okay, I'm curious. Aside from making the model more realistic, does this change actually affect the math behind it? Like, do we still see cool stuff like that connection to the golden ratio?
Now that's where it gets really interesting. You'd think that adding death into the mix would throw off all those elegant mathematical relationships, right? But it turns out that golden ratio, phi, it still shows up as a long-term pattern, even in A00044.
Wait, so even with a lifespan factored in, the ratio between consecutive terms still approaches phi as the sequence goes on. That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It suggests there's a deeper link between these growth patterns and the concept of limits, even when you bring mortality into the picture. Why does this connection stick around even with the added complexity? It's a question that mathematicians are still pondering.
Okay, before we wander too far into the theoretical side of things, let's bring in some details from what we've got to work with today.
Right, we've got that OEIS entry on A0000044. Always a goldmine of mathematical insights.
Absolutely. And one thing that jumped out at me was this alternative generating function for A0000004 created by Michael Somos. I'm not even going to try to read it aloud. It's like a mathematical symphony of fractions. But it's amazing how you can capture such a complex sequence in a single formula.
Generating functions are a powerful tool, no doubt. They let us pack an entire infinite sequence into one neat expression. And Somos's formula for A0000004, well, it's surprisingly elegant, even if it looks a bit intimidating at first glance.
It reminds me of those intricate origami creations, where you unfold this crazy complex shape from a single sheet of paper.
I see it. And just like with origami, the beauty is in understanding the folds, those steps that lead to that final form. In this case, breaking down Somos's formula, well, it reveals deeper insights into the math underpinning A0000044.
Now, besides that generating function, there's another detail from the OEIS entry that I found really intriguing. Apparently, A0000044 also represents the number of ways to compose a number using only the odd numbers from 1 to 11. On one hand, we've got dying rabbits, and on the other, we've got, number theory. What's the connection?
It just shows you, right? Seemingly unrelated areas of math can totally collide in these unexpected ways. Sometimes it's hard to believe. So a composition of a number, it's basically breaking it down into a sum, right? Smaller positive integers. But here's the thing. Order matters. So like with the number 4, you'd have 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2 plus 1, and so on.
Okay, I think I get it. So A00004 is saying that for any number, there's a specific number of ways to express it as the sum of those odd numbers, 1 through 11. Wild. You'd never think those two things would be connected.
Right. It's one of the coolest things about math. You've got these seemingly totally separate concepts, and bam! They come together in ways you'd never expect. We started with rabbits, now we're in number theory land. It's a wild ride.
Totally. Like finding a secret passage in a house. You think you know it, then boom, hidden connections everywhere.
Exactly. And this connection to compositions, it actually helps explain some of the deeper stuff going on in A0000044. Why certain patterns pop up, why it behaves the way it does, it all kind of clicks into place.
I'm starting to see how diving into this math, even if it seems abstract, can actually unlock a whole new way of understanding the world. Who knew?
Absolutely. And speaking of the real world, I think it's worth remembering that A00044, at its heart, it's a population model. We've been geeking out on the math, but there's real world potential here too.
You're right. Got so lost in the number theory, almost forgot about those poor dying rabbits. But seriously, what are some practical applications for this? Beyond just like theory.
Well, the source material, it focuses on a 12-month lifespan, but that's just one way to look at it, right? We can think of that 12-month cycle as, well, any process with a lifespan or a fixed period.
Okay, so we could apply this model to anything that follows a cycle, anything with a set duration.
Exactly. Think of, say, a company that makes a product with a 1-year lifespan, like, oh, I don't know, a smartphone model. New one each year, the older ones become less popular. Eventually, poof, they're gone.
I see where you're going with this. The 12 terms in A00044, those could be the 12 months, and the value of each term, that's how many of that phone model are still out there.
You got it. And using the A00004 formula, we could model how that product's popularity rises and falls, taking into account that older models are constantly being replaced, just like our rabbits.
That's actually really cool. We've taken this abstract sequence about rabbits, and now we're talking about market dynamics.
See, it's all connected. And that's just one example. The great thing about A00004 is you can adapt it, change the lifespan parameter, and you could model anything from seasonal businesses to fashion trends. Anything that has a cycle, really.
This reminds me of how we talked about the golden ratio showing up even in this more complex model. Like there's some underlying mathematical order, even in systems that seem chaotic on the surface.
Fascinating, isn't it? We introduce lifespan, things dying off. It seems like it would mess up that Fibonacci harmony. But nope, certain mathematical principles, they just keep on going.
It really makes you appreciate, the power of just exploring math. We started with a simple tweak to Fibonacci, just adding lifespan, and look where we ended up. Number theory, cycles, these enduring mathematical principles. It's amazing.
It is. It shows that even with something as well known as Fibonacci, there's always something new to find, new connections to make.
And it's not just the beauty of the math itself, it's about how we can actually apply these ideas to understand the world better.
Exactly. A00044, it gives us this framework for thinking about populations, how products become popular and then fade away, trends, all that. It's like a tool for seeing those patterns that shape everything.
What gets me is, even with death, things ending, there's still this sense of continuity, this underlying math order, even when things disappear.
It really speaks to the power of models, even simple ones. They can reveal these hidden structures, relationships we wouldn't see otherwise.
Well, I think we've done a pretty thorough exploration of A0000004. From those Fibonacci rabbits to modeling populations more realistically to the number theory side of things and those cyclical patterns we see everywhere. Quite a journey.
We dove deep into the math, that's for sure. Recurrence relations, generating functions, all that good stuff, and found some surprising connections along the way.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. We talked about a 0000044 modeling a 12-month lifespan. But what if we went bigger?
Ooh, I like where you're going with this. Get those imaginations working.
What if we applied it to something with, say, a 12-year lifespan? What could that represent? A business, maybe.
Yeah.
Or how a specific technology rises and falls.
Interesting.
Or even longer, 12 decades. Could we model cultural shifts that way? Historical trends.
It's a great challenge to think about those long-term implications, those cycles, and how the past still influences the present, even when it seems gone.
So to all our listeners out there, whether you're a math whiz or just curious about number sequences, I hope this deep dive into A0000044 has sparked some new thoughts and maybe a new appreciation for what math can do.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that math, it's not just about equations. It's a language, a way to understand patterns, make connections, see the world in a whole new light.
And the most important thing, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep looking for those hidden connections that make math and the world in general so fascinating.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, happy calculating.